Murphy, and we're here for our second episode of Under Review with Coach Stu. Coach, appreciate you taking the time to do this as always.
Yeah, not a problem.
So, Coach, in our first segment, once again, want to get to know you, the person, a little bit better. What was one of the moments in your playing career where you faced a lot of adversity, and how did you overcome that?
I think early on, it's probably like end of my college career there. It was actually our last regular season game, senior. Broke my arm. So, unfortunately, that's how my college career ended there. Didn't get to play in the playoffs that year. Obviously, really disappointing. I had a bit of a recovery coming back from it, and then kind of, knew I wanted to play pro hockey, but that summer was a little more difficult because again, I wasn't able to train as much as I normally did or would like. And then so going into pro hockey, ended up going down to Texas there, Fort Worth, the old Central League, trying out there, and like I said, I don't think I was in my best shape going into camp there, and obviously didn't give my best I think performance there. And then, from there it was like, so I got cut, released, and then actually that's how I ended up here in Huntsville though. Came in here, and again, the start of my, I would say pro career wasn't very, smooth either. Again, wasn't getting a lot of playing time and just really had to fight through it. And actually got an injury early on in that year and actually went on the IR, and kind of actually from there, that 30 days that I had off on the IR, really got myself back into shape. And then I think kind of everything took off from there. So, it was definitely kind of a difficult, probably 6 or 7 month stretch there where just, had some of those, some adversity there and just had to really fight through it and figure it out. But, eventually, came out on the other side, and then, obviously been here in Huntsville ever since. So, worked out.
Was there ever any moments where you thought about giving up, and how did you kind of keep persevering through that?
No, that was never really an option. I mean, hockey is the only thing I've ever really done in my life. So that was definitely did not want to give up. I mean, there was definitely times I was uncertain of how things were going to work out. But like I said, it was kind of, kind of getting that injury during season two. Like it was just, kind of a muscle injury. It wasn't anything, too serious. But it just allowed me kind of like reset and kind of refocus. And like I said, get into better shape. And then, from there, it's kind of when everything kind of took off.
Well, that's awesome. It's a great story and great perseverance. And obviously, I mean, everything kind of works out for a reason. I mean, now you're down here. You got to win 2 cups here with the team, head coach. I mean, seems like it all panned out pretty well so far.
Yeah, been working out good. Yeah, obviously one as a player and one as a coach, and then or assistant coach. So now, I'd like to do one as a head coach as well.
That would be great. Now, what is a moment in your playing career or coaching career that you look back on with the most fondness, or you love to replay in your head?
It's always the championship year there, my last year, 17-18. I think that group, that team, was such a fun team to be a part of, like the entire season. Like we had a great group of guys. It's funny, like I try to tell, our teams every year here is, when you win a championship, like that group is still the tightest. We still have a Snapchat group that gets, it's pretty active still. I mean, we're, almost, 8-9 years later, and that group of guys, we still talk probably 2-3 times a week,
That's amazing.
Something gets, brought up in there. And so obviously looking back at that year, we had a lot of ups and downs that year as well. Again, we were a team that could never string a lot of wins together. I think Glenn was the one that said it. I don't think we ever won more than 3 games in a row, but we never lost more than 3 games in a row. So, but then come playoff time, we had some even adversity in the playoffs there, but we found a way, and obviously, ended up winning the championship, and always look back on that all the time that year.
That's incredible. And the brotherhood that you've been able to form, that's amazing. And to still stay in touch with those guys, especially, in this league where there's so much movement, even during the seasons, but even year to year, you get a lot of player turnover. For you guys to stay together, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's just something that brings you together and bonds you for life there, winning a championship. And it's awesome though. But yeah, that chat still goes off all the time. So a lot of funny stuff in there.
That's incredible. So looking back last weekend against Peoria, very tightly contested weekend series. I thought defensively you guys were fantastic and really did a good job clogging up the neutral zone, making it hard for them to get entries. It just seemed, though, at times that there wasn't a sustained offensive pressure by you guys. Had a lot of kind of one-and-dones on those series getting in. What did you like about that series, and what are things that you guys are taking back from the film and want to improve on?
I think it's exactly what you just talked about. We tried not to dwell on that weekend too much there because, again, I thought we played really good hockey. I loved how hard we worked. That was the biggest thing. Our work ethic was there. Our compete level was there. And then, like you said, defensively, like we were, really solid. Really only gave up 2 goals in 2 games, and the one was, a rim puck off a
Yeah.
stanchion, kicks out in front. Like not much you can do about that.
Had you ever
So,
seen a play like that where it rolled
right.
on there for that long? I was amazed when that happened. I was like, oh, it just
Yeah, I mean, you get those bad bounces all the time. I mean, I saw one in the NHL the other day. I think it hit a camera hole, kicked right
oh
out in front, ended up being a game-winning goal in the game too. So it happens all the time. You just got to move past those. But yeah, as far as I think both teams are really solid defensively. Didn't give up much. First game was really like the scoring chances. We went through and very low on both sides. Second game, actually, we generated quite a few chances, but like you said, a lot of it was one and done. We weren't able to sustain a lot of ozone time. Keep the pressure on them, kind of wear them down. I think you saw that a little more in the game last night. We just had so much ozone time that eventually, like kind of said it, the dam's going to break and you're going to get some of those goals. So that was kind of our focus this week in practice, was trying to possess the puck a lot more in the ozone, make sure we're, if we're getting a scoring opportunity, it's like we're able to retrieve a puck and then keep the puck in the zone and then kind of, keep them hemmed in and try to wear them down a little more. So this week in practice, it was a lot of possession time and trying to, always get the puck back and to possess it so we can wear a team down.
I was really impressed in that series, and now it's carried over into the first game against Quad City with that third line of Fries, Trezera, and Matt Allen. And I mean, just their hard work, their forecheck. I just love the way Frank Trezera plays. And now going into this Quad City series, we already had game one, but felt like that goal that Matt Allen had late into the first period was a real momentum builder. And I just love the way Matt Allen plays. He's such a hard worker. He plays a good, honest game. Talk a little bit about that goal from Allen.
Yeah, it was obviously a huge goal. Again, like you said, obviously going back to last weekend, we were playing really well, generating a lot of chances. There's a lot of guys probably kind of gripping their sticks a little bit right now. They want to score, they're getting the chances, they just can't do it. So it's in the back of your head a little bit, right? So obviously for Matty to get that one, again, we were playing really well in the first period. Late in the period, boom, we get a goal, and I think just there's probably a bit of a sigh of relief on the bench and within the team, because it's like finally we get a goal. Matty especially, he's. I think last week I think it was the second game, we had him for 7 scoring chances. Obviously, just didn't get one, but so for him to get that, I think was huge. But and we talked about it all week. Like if you want to score, go to the net, and he scored literally on top of the goal crease. So it was awesome for him. And then that line, like you said, in general, like they put their heads down and they go to work. Simple players. Get the puck in and just go to work and then get to the net. Like Frankie again, he gets that puck, goes low to high to our defenseman, goes straight to the net. It's how he scored last night too. So. That line's been a really good energy line, work line for us.
Yeah, they played fantastic in that 5-2 win last night. What I was very impressed by, too, in that third period, they had that little stint there with the Matson goal, the Smirnoff goal. On that second goal there, I noticed Wilson, kind of gesturing to the ref. Was there an errant whistle, or what had kind of happened on that play? Because I couldn't hear anything from upstairs.
Yeah, I think so when the guy shot it, I think really kind of caught it in his arm there a little bit. Obviously, it fell through. But I think the ref thought he had it, so he blew the whistle right away. And puck might not have been in before before he blew the whistle. But the puck ended up in the net, so you know what I mean. I think the ref's always gonna probably give that a goal there. Yeah. So just kind of it is what it is. But yeah, kind of gave up 2 goals there back to back there pretty quickly. Again, probably lifted our foot off the gas there a little bit, but then again we come back and
the response from Golko,
a couple shifts
incredible.
Later, Golko gets a goal, probably huge for him scoring against his old team there. So and then just kind of put out the fire for the rest of that game there.
Yeah, and I'm sure he was very motivated playing against his old team. I think he's third all time in points with the Quad City franchise, so he's logged a lot of games over there. Obviously, Ashton Paul coming back home last night. What was it like to see him on the other side?
I mean, it's just it happens all the time. Guys get traded, so. I know he's going to, a lot more opportunity over there. Obviously, we got a really deep team, veteran team. We only have 2 or 3 rookies on our team this year. So, if he would have been here, he would have been a guy that's probably in and out of the lineup, not getting a lot of minutes. And, he's a really good kid. So I'm glad to see him, over there, getting a lot more ice time. Hopefully, with that, his game can develop a lot more too, because he's playing more. So, it's good for him.
And then Craig McCabe coming back. That was a huge, leads all defensemen in plus minus. Obviously we always root for them when they get called up to the ECHL, but I was so happy to see him come back because I think he's one of our top blue liners and is a really important piece for this team to make a deep playoff push. What was it like having McCabe back?
Yeah, he just brings a bit of a calmness back there, just a steady presence. Ever since he's been here, I think he's contributed on both sides of the puck, offensively and defensively. I think the one thing he always wants is a really good plus minus. It's funny he talks about that. He's got the top one on our, at least our team. I'm not sure really in the league, but and then obviously the offensive side, he generates a lot of offense for us as well too. So that's a huge part. And yeah, having him back last night was, really good. I know he went up there, he did pretty well, but obviously just kind of a lot of times it ends up being a numbers game up there. I know Tahoe got a couple guys back, so he gets sent back. So, but yeah, it was great to have him back last night. And yeah, I thought he was just good and solid for us. And yeah, we're looking forward to him hopefully being on a long playoff run with us.
And obviously, you guys are looking to build off the great performance from last night here in kind of the afternoon matinee 3 p.m. slot. Kind of your thoughts going into this game. I think Quad City always does a great job on the road. They're on the end of an 8-game road stint here. How do you just make sure you take care of business and pick up the crucial 4 points as you guys jumped Pensacola last night back into second?
Yeah, we just got to make sure, again, like the way we've played the last 3 games with our work ethic, our effort, like if that's there again tonight, that's all, or this afternoon, I guess, that's all I'm looking for. I just want our guys to just keep working hard. We just got to keep building on, the last few games here. We just got to make sure we don't take a step back. One thing is Quad City, I know lately, like looking at their record, they're like win one, lose one, win one, lose one. So they're doing a really good job bouncing back after losses, I think, a lot of times. So again, you got to expect a push back against them, but we just got to make sure we come out. We have the same effort, work ethic, keep taking pride in our defensive game. And then again, just kind of hopefully as the game goes on, we just wear them out, and then we'll get our scoring chances and we just got to capitalize. So it's just kind of the game plan for tonight.
Well, yeah, I think if you guys execute at the level of last night, you'll be able to take care of business, and appreciate the insight on this weekend's series and last weekend's. And then, Coach, we're going to our fan segment now. People love this. Life advice from Coach Stu. I thought you did a great job last week. I got 2 questions from you, one from a good friend of mine, Mr. Brandon Looney. He wants to know, Coach, how do you measure success both in your personal life and off the ice?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a loaded question.
Yeah. You said off the ice?
Yeah, how do you measure success personally? And then obviously on the ice, you look at the standings, things like that. Maybe you have different analytics measures, but how do you measure success in your own, how you're doing as a friend, as a family member, things like that?
I just think like personally for myself is just am I living a happy life? Like obviously I'm married, I got a couple dogs, so I always enjoy going home every day, walk in the door, 2 dogs are always happy to see you. So even if you lose a few games in a row and you come home, your dogs don't know that, they're always cheering you up. And then yeah, obviously married, got a house, you know what I mean? So I don't think there's any reasons to to ever be kind of upset there. So again, I think just making sure that I'm happy every day coming to work and happy every day going home. I think that's the biggest thing. So, and then on the ice, again, I try not to the standings is whatever. We're in second place, that's great. The wins and stuff like that. But I think a lot of times it's more measuring your success is like, is your team getting better? Are they progressing? From game to game, from throughout the year, right? So you want to make sure that your team's playing the best when you're going into the playoffs. And I look at the team 2 years ago when we went to the finals. Obviously, we lost, but that team, young team, we had a lot of changeover that year. But we had a tough start to that year. But by the end of the year, we were playing our best hockey, and then that's kind of what led us into the playoffs. And last year was a little bit different too. I think we had a really good start to the year, and then we kind of maybe just plateaued. So there's kind of looking at those 2 differences there. I think that's where a lot of the success comes from. Is your team growing, getting better? Towards the end of the year to go into playoffs.
And then finally, Coach, last fan question. How do you deal with someone that has a big ego now that you're obviously in a managerial role? And what advice would you give to someone that's trying to manage a team and one of the guys on the team has quite the ego?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, you're trying to, again, we have, 19 guys in the locker room over there. Everyone's got their own personalities, their own, like you said, egos and stuff like that. It's just trying to make sure everyone at least is bought into the whole, the whole program, what you're trying to accomplish here, right? So obviously there's some guys that are, a little more, outgoing or have their own thoughts on things like that. But, sometimes it's just sitting them down and just, kind of setting the expectations. Yes, again, you might have a little bit of a bigger ego, play at higher levels, play at lower levels. It doesn't matter, right? It's just trying to get everyone aligned, with the same goal in mind, which is obviously to win a championship. But, we talk about is just trying to get better every single day. We got a poster up in here. It's, get 1% better every day. So if you can get everyone aligned with those kind of, those standards, then, I think that's the best way to deal with it is as long as everyone's on the same page. You're not going to have every guy that's, same mindset or same, have that same ego, like you said. But it's just trying to get everyone aligned.
Well, I appreciate the time, Coach, and obviously great advice as always, and best of luck to you and the team this afternoon. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.